welcome to another brand new episode here on FS25 and the Market Gardener, or Farmer's Market, whichever way you prefer. Right, as you can see, we're into our early morning ritual, which is gathering up all of the greenhouse produce and selling it. So that's what I get up to every time I start a new day, or a new month as it is on the game. And yes, today is no different. We are gathering up said wares to sell at our little farm shop. And it's a quaint, lovely little farm shop, as you're all aware. And I've got myself jammed against the side. That would have knocked that down in real life. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. And then today what we've got to do is we've got some, well, if the weather holds, but because it doesn't look favourable at the moment, but hopefully we've got some more excuse me, we've got some more combining to do. We've got our oats to combine and our sorghum, so yes. Alright, if we press that and that, I do realise in real life you wouldn't be able to I've got them on there. It's okay. I've just realised a mistake that I've made. All of that produce is going up to the canning factory. So all of that needs to go to, whoops. We actually need to get rid of this before we can load the lorry. Otherwise we're taking stuff down there that doesn't belong. So yes. Anyway, hope you're all having a good day. Hope your Monday is going well. As I say, it's early morning. It's now roughly 7 o'clock, a few minutes to, but I've been up about 4 hours already, so I'm I'm getting a late start, you could say. But yeah, so as I say, but my day so far so good. Normally, sometimes when I get up early, I kind of then find that I'm having that sort of day, and I think, why didn't I just stay in bed? I was thinking, but nope, today not going too bad at the moment. Getting done early because I've got some things to do today. So, to be fair, actually, I got up at about 3:30ish, somewhere around there. Where the hell am I going? Yeah, I got up at about 3:30ish, and my plan was about 5:30. I was going to go for a haircut. Now you might think you're nuts. There's no hairdressers open at 5:30 in the morning, but there is. There is, and so I was going to go for a haircut. So I get out to my car, careful that I don't wake the whole house up. By the whole house, I mean my brother and my mum. Careful that I don't wake them up. I get out to my car, and there was the slightest of frosts. I mean, it wasn't much. It certainly wasn't enough to put me off from wanting to, sort of drive away. But what did put me off from wanting to drive away was because my car's got a water leak at the moment. The windscreen and every single window was absolutely, dripping wet. My dash looked like that Niagara Falls had visited overnight. Do you know what I mean? It was, and I just thought, do you know what? I can't be bothered to dry all this out at bloody, sort of 5:30 in the morning. So I left it. But anyway, hopefully today, if I get chance, As I say, I've got other things to do, but hopefully today I'm going to take it to a garage that might be able to fix it for me, because I know what's wrong with it, I just can't fix it myself. And I've been to 2 garages, and the first garage that I took the car to were kind of like, yep, you know, we can fix that. I was like, fantastic. He said, but however, I will say this. I said, yes. He said, it's not what you think it is. I said, it is what I think it is. I've had the problem before. I said, and it's repeating itself. I said, i.e., as in everything is the same as it was before. And if that was the problem that was before, I said, I'm fairly confident that's what the problem is now. And he was like, nope, that's not the problem. So I said, okay, fair enough. What's the problem? He said, oh, I think your drain passage is blocked. I said, look, you leave my drain passage out of it. I said, we're here to fix the bloody car. My 2 ladies are probably going to go, oh, you can't say that. Honestly, it's getting to the point where, you know, you can't say anything. Last week in Market Gardener, I told a story, as you may remember if you did watch the last episode. I told a story, and it was a brilliant story, and I was thinking, oh, that's a good story. That'll make people laugh. I'm thinking, I like making people laugh. If I'm feeling a little bit down myself, which I was last week, I was feeling very down last week. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not feeling awfully much more cheerful now, but I was feeling, really sorry for myself last week, and I told the story, and I did a few accents in the story as well, just to kind of make it more authentic, because I do, I do like to do like to do impressions. It's something I've always done, from sort of the comedian Jeffro, to which most people that I know all say to me, you have to go on Britain's Got Talent dressed as Jeffro and do Jeffro, because it is, honestly, it's uncanny. I'm not sure it's that good, I gotta be honest. It's a good impression, it's good enough to make people laugh, but I don't think it's uncanny. But yeah, so I as I say, I told a story, and they were like, no, you can't say that. And I'm like, why not? And they were like, because you'll offend too many people. And my response to that was, I don't care. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, so I took it to the, before I get myself in trouble, I took it to the garage, and he said it was me drain holes. Naughty. And so I said to him, I said, okay, I said, you can do that. I said, but can you please, at the same time, I said, change my sunroof seals as well. He's like, I don't need to do it. I was like, honestly, I said, could you just do it, please? He said, I don't need to do it. I said, no, look. I said, I'm asking you as the customer. Can you just change them anyway? Whether it needs doing or whether it doesn't, I want them changing. So he was like, he goes, we'll see. So anyway, I left it with him, and he did the drain holes, took the car home. For a couple of days, it did stay dry, to be fair, and then the next time it really rained proper, it was full of water again. So I said to him, I said, look, I said, it's full of water again. Yeah, leave it with me, I'll sort it. I said, please just reseal the sunroof, honestly. I said, just do that. Anyway, left the car with him on the Monday, went to pick it up on the Friday, and I said to him, like, have you got the car done? No, I've not looked at it yet. I said, what do you mean you've not looked at it yet? I said, you've had it a bloody week. And he said, yeah. He said, I know. He said, I'm waiting for some parts to come from Volvo. I said, whoa. I said, parts from Volvo? He's like, yeah. I said, what parts from Volvo do you need? I said, I only need bloody sealant. I said, I'll buy you that myself if you want me to. And he said, no. He said, I'm ordering a new air conditioning unit. So I said, a new air conditioning unit? I said, why? And he said, my voice went very high and squeaky then, didn't it? I do apologise. I said, why? He said, well, because it's that's throwing water into your cab. So I said to him, I said, don't be ridiculous. I said, why on earth would the sunroof? I said, why on earth would the air conditioning leak only when it's raining? And he said, well, he goes, I can't explain that bit. I do admit. He said, because I have thought that myself. I said, that alone tells you that ain't the problem, doesn't it? He's like, he goes, well, I've ordered you one. He said, it's going to be about, well, he said, he said to fit it and to buy the part, he said, you're looking at £1,000. I said, £1,000? When all I need is some sunroof sealant? I said, no, I don't think so. So he said, bring the car back Monday, because I said to him, like, I need the car for the weekend. So he said, bring the car back Monday. I'll have it done. He said, I'll have it done by Tuesday. He said, you know, we'll have this problem solved. I said, not a problem. I'll bring it back Monday. I haven't been back since, because I'm not paying for an air conditioning unit. Because, as I say, the chances that the air conditioning unit is only leaking when it rains, it's pretty small. I'm no mechanic, but even I'm fairly confident of that one. So I said, no, I'll leave it, thanks. So yeah, anyway, may have found a garage today that can fix it. So I rang up Auto Windscreen, the people that do the windscreens, and they will do it, but they will only do it if I allow them to change the glass as well. They've said that they won't just do the sealant on its own. They'll only come and do it if I let them change the glass. And I said, there's nothing wrong with the glass. And they said, yeah, we know. We said, but it's not really worth us coming out, taking all the glass out, and then resealing it, and then putting all the glass back, you know. But if we, sort of can charge for the glass, it's worth us doing it. And I said, no, I don't need the glass. I said, I only need its resealing. I said, that's ridiculous. I said, that's like me saying, that's like you saying, well, if we'll do it if you change all of the glass in your car. And I said, I don't need it. I said, I only need it resealing. I said, Jesus. I said, how hard is it to get a car resealed? And anyway, as I say, hopefully I found a garage that's very local to me that may be able to do it. So fingers crossed. But yeah, so once I get it done, I might get up early and go for a haircut. So the local Tesco's to me has a barber's inside it, and that barber's opens at 6 o'clock with the store. So on Christmas Eve of Christmas just passed, my mum wanted obviously to do all the food shopping, and she was dreading it and getting really worked up about it and this, that, and everything else. And I'm terribly afraid of COVID and all of this business. And so I said to her, I said, look, I said, I tell you what, I said, I'll go do the shopping. I said, leave the list. I said, and like, I'll go. So she's like, okay, really? So I said, yeah. But you're the one that shouldn't be going. So I said, how'd you work that out? She said, well, you're the one with the weakened immune system and the heart condition where COVID would be terrible for you. I said, yeah. I said, but to be fair, I said, I've lived with the threat of flu for like my whole life, Yeah, I'm sort of, I don't really think about it, to be fair. I said, I think I'm strong enough to get rid of it. And anyway, I went, and when I got there, I thought, and I went at 5 o'clock because it opened at 5. I was there for 5. And, yeah, walked in, saw the hairdressers was open. I thought, banging, I'll get a haircut. So I had a haircut at 5 o'clock, and then I went and did the shopping. But everybody had the same idea as me, because the place was absolutely rammed at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, Jesus, have you lot not got lives? I'm a sad, lonely, man that, sort of has nothing better to do with his time. You've all got families. But anyway, so that's what I did. Right. We are going now to the what do you call it? the place that does the flour, the grain mill, and we'll transfer that over to the bakery and make some bread, but that won't be ready for a day or two because it's quite slow, the bakery on this game. And then we will as I say, hopefully be able to get on with some combining, but it looks like, oh no, it's still quite blue skies at the moment, but the rain signal is there, and that usually means that within the next couple of hours, I don't have a weather vane, so weather vanes, or weather station I think it's called on this game, but a weather station on this game is actually very useful because it will tell you precisely when it's going to rain, not roughly when it's going to rain. So if we was on a sort of save where weather is critical, and that sort of save will come eventually. It's just at the moment there isn't too much in the way of sort of maps for FS25, but that will sort of come eventually where we're trying to harvest peas as well as get all of our, or harvest beans and spinach and stuff like that, as well as get combinables in, as well as trying to get our vegetables in and stuff like that, and sugar beet and everything. I'll sort of hope to do a save where we're sort of heavily involved in that sort of line of work, and that's sort of busy. But as I say, at the moment the maps aren't really there. Yeah, there is Calmston, but I mean, it's a wonderful map, but I just don't think it's that playable because, as I say, I like to sort of do things the way we did it on the farm, and you can't, because it's only one lane, and the road is only, as I say, one lane and what have you, and so therefore it's really hard to do because you can't have traffic. You can't be doing multiple things at the same time because the traffic can't get down the roads, and whoever made the auto drive courses for it, again, like they do with all maps like that, they like the Vintage Oaks is another one. They made it so that the traffic goes up and down the same road. Well, that's no good. On a map like that, you need to have a circuit so that traffic going to the farm doesn't meet the traffic coming back from the farm. That if I could sort out auto drive as good as what they can, that's how I would do it. Yes, the tractors and trailers might be gone from the field slightly longer because it's not the most direct route, it's not the quickest route, but at least they don't crash and you can get on with your work. So, but as I say, eventually the maps will come, so it's just a case of being a bit patient at the moment. But with all of the plans that I've got for Sunnyside Up Farms and 1950s, which is going nowhere because I absolutely love that series. I think even if I wasn't going to carry on with doing YouTube, I think I would still do that. I would still play that series. I absolutely love that series. Honestly, it's awesome. But and for those of you that are listening and just heard that, and that may sort of think, oh well, I hope you don't, or give up YouTube, or well, maybe everyone does. Maybe everyone's under the opinion of, yeah, you're rubbish, get off. I don't know, but yeah, there are no plans to stop doing YouTube. I don't think. Like I say, last week I was just really down and feeling sorry for myself. As sort of said before, without really going into it, because people just don't need to know, probably don't want to know, don't care, and sort of don't need to know. But yeah, something going on in my private life that is really getting to me, and as I say, without going into massive details, it's not being able to see my son. It's really getting me down, to be fair. I'm not allowed to see him, I'm not allowed to call him, I'm not allowed to anything, all because I tried to do the right thing and I tried to be a responsible parent. But there you go. How dare you, in this modern world, want to be a responsible parent and want to do the right thing? you know. But anyway, yeah. So I say last week I was just feeling a bit down, but that was a good shot. I definitely won't get in the archery team with a shot like that, will I? Yeah. So as I say, last week we were feeling a bit down, but I think this save is going to be coming to an end. The same with Walter, because I've got to be honest, I haven't been enjoying Walter. Walter's okay. The Walter series is okay. It's all right, and I sort of been enjoying it the last few weeks because we've been sort of double cropping, and I've looked through the sort of game calendar, and actually there's a lot of opportunity for double cropping. With the way that crops are working on the game, so there's lots of opportunities for double cropping and stuff like that, which I do like, because obviously that makes your fields the most efficient they can be, sort of thing, if you're, sort of double cropping. But so yeah, but as I said, with the plans that I've got for Sunnyside Up 1950s, which I absolutely love and adore, I'm gonna probably stop this and Walter and just do those two series for a while. Yeah, and just do those two series and do one for 4 days, the other one for 3 days, and then kind of sort of see where I'm at. Hopefully by then there'll have been some good maps come out, and we'll be able to play FS25. As I said before, FS25, with all of its problems, is a little bit of a hard play sometimes, because it does crash a lot, and you'll get moments of just unbelievable lag, and you have no idea why, because you were there 30 seconds earlier and the game was absolutely fine. So I have no idea why sometimes it does it, but it does. But yeah, as I say, so I might just be concentrating on those two for a while. And like I say, I think it's very unlikely that I'll be stopping YouTube. I think last week I was just really downbeat, really down on myself, and I'd like to take this opportunity, if I can, to thank the person that sent me an email after last week's episode to make sure I was okay, and to give a lot of nice words and a lot of encouragement, which was really appreciated at the time. Really appreciated. So thank you. I'm not going to mention, because you know who you are, and I really appreciate it. Right, let's get this combine down to that field. We have got another job if it does rain. So there's I'm going to do some live testing on a save, which I don't normally do. Normally I save that for kind of off camera to make sure I don't make myself look a wally. But I'm going to do some live testing on the actual save. So you're going to see a new mod, and we're going to see if it works okay. I see no reason why it won't, but always good to try these things. Anyway, we'll get this down to the oat field. I could have sent him, actually, to be fair. But we'll get it down to the oat field. We'll get these oats harvested. We'll get the sorghum fields harvested. We'll see where we're at, and then we'll meet in the bar and call it a draw. Is that okay? So, yeah, that's what we'll do. I think that sounds like a pretty good plan. And like I say, if it does end up raining before we can get everything done, then no big issue. Oh yeah, I bought a new tractor even. So I bought that because it was like £80,000. It was an absolute bargain. So I just couldn't resist. I know it's supposed to be realistic to real life, but I can assure you, if I was in real life making the money that we can't pull it. The Challenger that I bought, I thought it would be big enough to pull. It's not. So that's kind of ruined that idea. Okay, fair enough. So if it rains, basically we're screwed. We've got nothing else to do. Oh, sugar. Yeah, we've got nothing else to do, so yeah. Now don't hope for rain. I'm sure we'll find something. But anyway, I'm going to switch over to a little bit of time lapse because I've rabbited on for far too long, and this may well be the reason why the views are so far down. It's because people listened to me for about 2 minutes ago. That's enough now, Ginger. You can now switch over to a little bit of time lapse, and we won't have to listen to your voice. So this could be the reason. Anyway, I'm going to switch over to some time lapse, and I'll see you in a little while. Bye for now.
So high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world but keep the sky on your mind.
close. I'd committed to crossing when the barriers went. Jeez. This might only be a computer game, but my bottom was eating my seat. Anyway, whew. It genuinely made my heart kind of flutter and skip, that did. It was like, oh Christ. Yeah, I'd committed to crossing and then the barriers dropped. Dear, never mind. Anyway, all's well that ends well. That's what I always say, and it ended well, so all is well. We'll get back to the farm. As you can see, the sky is a bit black, and it is raining. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, is the game not lying when it says that your yield will be significantly reduced if you harvest when, or thresh when wet, or threshing when wet, or whatever it says. I went from doing 68%, sorry, for a complete round, so that's up and down, and that last pass up and down, I managed to achieve 38%, so I dropped 30% in yield just because it was raining. So yeah, don't harvest in the wet, people. In real life, that wouldn't happen, of course. In real life, it would just mean, you know, obviously you would need to dry it, but you wouldn't lose no yield. You know, the yield would be there, whatever. It just means that, you know, it would cost you a lot more to dry. And I think because the game can't necessarily recreate the extra costings for drying it, the game sort of knocks the yield off, because in theory you're still losing money. So you know, I think that's sort of how the game gets around that, which is fair enough. You know, that's fair enough. But yeah, don't do it. That would be my advice. Right, we'll leave the combine up there. May as well. It's not going to hurt up there. I've closed the lid, so we brought the tractor back. Oh, you know, the whole time I was driving that tractor back, I was going to myself, don't forget to stop at the veg fields. We could see whether they're ready or not. Or I'll tell you another thing, we could see whether they're ready or not. And we're a little bit nearer, is whether the grapes are ready. If the grapes are ready, we may as well harvest them. But we'll have a look. So yeah, they probably won't be. Then again, they might be, because we planted them at the first available opportunity. Well, you know, put the vines down at the first available opportunity. No, I can't see no purple. No, they're still not ready. That's fine. Right, I'll do the naughty naughty. I'll teleport over. I'll do the naughty naughty. Oh, he's naughty. Yeah, these are ready to harvest. Right. So we've got a couple of ways we could do this, actually. Because we've got a few quid. So we could use our single row harvester, which, you know, there's nothing wrong in that. That's what we've been using for the last 9 years, 8 years, because we didn't do it in the first year. So for the last 8 years we've been using that. Or we could say, do you know what, actually we've got a few quid in our skyrocket. Let's hire a harvester in, get the job done nice and quick. We could hire that in. I would use that, but it's not the best thing in the world. A, on little fields, and B, trying to catch everything that it wants to waste, whereas that has a tank. So in theory, we're fine with that one. Because as I say, that one has a tank. Yeah, I think just for a one-off, we'll lease this one. We won't have a number plate. I don't like the number plates in Farming Simulator. Nothing against Farming Simulator for putting them in. I just don't like them. All right. Yes, we'll borrow that. There we go. So we actually, if we just do that, James, we would have ended there anyway. Right, hopefully we'll cross the train lines this time without killing ourselves. Although, to be fair, we didn't kill ourselves last time. As I said, all is well because it ended well. But yeah, so we'll borrow a harvester this time around. I think you can harvest the vegetables in the wet. I don't think there's a penalty for that. He certainly would be doing, in real life. I mean, if it was raining like this, we'd sort of still consider going out and doing potatoes or sugar beet or anything, or even our carrots and stuff. I mean, when we've been harvesting carrots in January, I can assure you there was nothing dry about that. We used to always as well harvest our carrots overnight. I don't know whether there's science behind their theory, but apparently when you bring the carrot, because we used to cover our carrots in straw, well, apparently when you used to expose them from complete darkness to complete daylight, it used to do something to the skins or whatever within the carrot, and so therefore the farm only ever harvested carrots through the night. Now I liked carrot harvesting. Again, it wasn't a job that I did a huge amount, but if there wasn't nothing doing in January, and if there wasn't no ploughing or anything like that, then yeah, I'd because it would be, apart from the veg harvester, which was always Steve, but the tractor and trailer drivers were either foreign or voluntary, and I used to sort of say to the farm boss, "I'll come in overnight. I'll do it," and he used to say like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Yeah," and he used to say, "But obviously you're working through the day as well." And I used to look at him, and he said, "I'm kidding, James." I said, "Well, if you want," I said, "but I was hoping for some sleep." But yeah, so I used to go overnight and harvest cattle. I don't, like I say, I don't know whether there was, or whether they were winding me up with it, because trust me, I'm the sort of person that would get wound up a lot by by the lads that I work with. But yeah, it was all banter and it was all good fun. I used to give as good as I got. So apart from the slurry incident, yeah, didn't find that one very funny. But otherwise, yeah, a good old giggle. You can't beat it when you're at work, can you? Anyway, yeah. So I used to go in overnight and harvest the carrots. And yeah, obviously, because then you were bringing them from complete darkness into darkness. So yeah, apparently the chemical reaction that used to happen between the skin of the carrot and the sun. But I'd say that they could have been winding me up, but if they were, they kept to the same bloody reason in the story every time, and everyone was in on it, even the factory staff. So the farm had 3 factories altogether. It had a vegetable processing factory. It had a potato processing factory. I can't believe I've just done that. Anyway, yeah, we'll ignore that. I didn't see it. Dear, that always reminds me of a fantastic story of my mum, God bless her. And I'm very quick always to remind her about it. She had a bit of a prang in Wisbech, which is a town local to where I live, and yeah, she had a bit of a prang. She hit a bright yellow double-decker bus, and sort of after we established that she was fine, everyone on the bus was fine, and everything, and we went there, and the bus driver, in front of us, perfectly nice man, very nice about it. There was no, no malice or anything like that from him or whatever. And he said to my mum, he said, like, "What are you doing hitting me?" And my mum said, "I didn't see you." And because I started laughing, and my mum goes, "What?" And I said, It's a bright yellow double-decker bus. How the hell did you miss it? I said, it's hardly inconspicuous now, is it? She sort of looked at me and she went, well, she said, you know, I can't look at everything. I said, it'd be bloody helpful if you did. Yeah, so it always reminds me of of that story when someone says, "Oh, I did see it," and I just instantly think of that. It's a oh dear, yeah. Hit a bright yellow double-decker bus because she didn't see it. It's just funny. But it does happen, you know. It does happen. I mean, I've sort of been lucky, really. I've sort of not hit the things that I haven't seen. And apart from a black BMW X5, I've, you know, sort of never really come close either. But that BMW X5, Lord knows how I missed that car. Honestly, I pulled out from a bridge. So where I live, it's all back roads and single. Well, I say all back roads and single lanes. It isn't. There's two roads that are single lane, but two way. So it's not a one way road, but it's a single lane. But there are passing points. Anyway, with that road, you know, it's an absolutely long straight road. So it's about half a mile long, maybe a mile. But at least half a mile. I would say, you know, if it's not a mile, it's well over half a mile long. It's a really straight road. It's quite smooth actually. It's not now. Now it's potted up and potholed up to hell, and you know, and all things like that. But you know, back in when I'm talking about, it was a very smooth road, and yeah, the young lads, you know, myself included, decided the best way to get down that road was to go as fast as you can. Go as fast as you can, get down the road, and get to the other end. When you get to the other end, where the houses are, it then turns into a two-lane road. So it's now wide enough again for obviously you know, for oncoming traffic, for meeting traffic down. And so, as I say, the idea, fast as you can, get to the other end, right? And that was what I was doing, and got to the bridge. Now, as you were coming to the bridge, so it went over a really big drain, but as you were sort of just coming off the other side of the bridge, there was a junction, and you go obviously left or right. And on this particular occasion, I was going right, because I was going home. And I'm coming down to the bridge, and I'm looking left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right. Can't see nothing for, you know, I can in my Peugeot 306, which was sported out. It was a body kit Peugeot car, Peugeot, as I say, 30. I think it was a 306. Might have been a 205 actually. I can't remember now. But it was bright yellow. Spoilers, as I say, body kit, everything souped up. I mean, like, you know, chipped to God knows what. Really went to town. My parents bought it for me for my 18th birthday, and it was a or didn't buy it completely, but certainly gave me some money towards it. And yeah, I was coming down there and looking left and right, looking left and right. Didn't see nothing. Didn't need to slow down because I thought I can take this at, you know, the turn at sort of a right good pace. If I look like I'm going to start to sort of overshoot the corner, I'll just apply a little bit of handbrake and I'll get round. You know, I'll drift it round. And yeah, I got to the bridge. Just getting over the bridge, turned right. Thankfully, made the corner, so I'd obviously slowed down enough. And as I got sort of coming over the bridge, I have no idea why, but I kept to the right hand side of the road, which, as people will know, I'm from the UK, as we drive on the left. But I kept to the right hand side of the road, and yeah, I looked to my left, and I was riding alongside a BMW X5. And I was like, where the did you come from? And the young lady in it, we pulled up outside my nan's. because my nan sort of lived just past that bridge, and then you go sort of down the road around a really sharp corner, and then down the road a little bit further, and then you was at sort of my house where I grew up. And as I say, we pulled up, me and the young lady outside. Oh, for goodness sake, James. Outside my nan's house, and because the young lady gets out and she's having a right go at me. I mean, she's got her kids in the car and everything like that. So, I can understand it. It's, I get it. I really do. And I was very apologetic because I just didn't see her, and yeah. She was, she was not very happy. And of course, she's having a go at me, rightly so, and I'm taking it and I'm apologising. And God love her, my nan comes out and she's going, "Who the hell do you think you're talking to this guy?" And I'm like, Nan, it's okay. I was in the wrong. Nan's go, "You said the bloody wrong. I don't think so." Come on my bloody drive and start shit. And she wasn't on the drive. She was on the side of the road in front of my dad's house. And my dad was kind of like, "Yeah, she's going." Because, my dad was I mean, she was the loveliest of ladies ever. But boy, did she have a temper. Boy, did she have a mood. She was proper old school, and in the end, and then because like I say, I was trying to get home, and my nan was going, and because my nan was widowed quite young, she she was like, "Come round, have a cup of tea. I'll cook some sausages." And it's fine. I'm fine. It's fine. I'm going home. I need to get home. Oh, come in. I need a shower, Nan. I got to have a shower. Oh, have a bath. Have a bath round mine. Come on. I'll get some sausages and some bacon on. Have a cup of tea. And I was like, Nan, I'm fine. I'm gonna go home. I said, I'll come back later. I promise I'll come back later, and I'll sit with you later. But yeah, no, it was a really funny story. Anyway, I'm gonna crack on with some more time lapse, and I'll get this field done and probably the field next door done as well, and then next episode we will get the the sorghum harvested, and the grapes and any remaining vegetables that we have. And as I say, once we get the harvest done, once we get all the produce sold, then that's probably they'll probably, if I was to put a guess on it now, I would say there'll be definitely one more episode, obviously, but probably two. But if I can get everything done in next week's episode, I will do. And then, as I say, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to recording just Sunnyside Up Farms and 1950s for a while, until I can find something suitable for FS25. And if any of you've got any maps that you want to see me play or whatever, just leave a comment, and I will endeavour to to try and do a save on it if it's something that you want to see. But anyway, as I say, I'm going to switch over to a little bit of time lapse again, and we'll get this done, get the field next door done, and then that'll probably be time for this episode. So I'll see you in a minute. It would appear that I've had a little crash. Oops. Now, it's it reminds me of a story. I'm joking. Yes. Right, I think this is recoverable. I can't believe I did that. I thought, and there's a reason actually why I just spent the time I did cutting that headland out a bit further so that I actually didn't have to reverse quite that far, because I did kind of think to myself, there's a good chance here I could be going down the hill. But anyway, what we'll do is we'll use this lovely mod, and we should be able to get said harvester out of said trees rather easy. There we go. We should be able to get up now. Yes, that'll do me. Right. So now I know that no one saw that, so no one's going to judge me in the comments, are they? Of course they're not. You're all far too English and polite for that. Yes. I was just kind of happily harvesting away, and then all of a sudden it was kind of, okay, where have I gone? Anyway, we'll get back to some harvest, and then I'll see you at the end. I just had to put in there because, as I say, I felt such a first-class Wally. We'll actually cut a couple of breeds off this headland as well. So, oh, there's a fence there apparently. Yeah, I didn't harvest this very well. Oh, way up. Why are we not moving? There we go. That seems to be solving some problems. But anyway, as I say, what I'll do is, oh, we're stopping again. Do we need to go up or down? Let's try down. Ah, there we go. Yeah, it's a bit awkward, this field, because it's on quite a nasty slope, and obviously tractors do manage it more than adequate. But here we go with the rolling again. But the harvester, this harvester does seem to be having a slight issue with it. But anyway, we will empty ourselves into here. Although having said that, I'd have been better off emptying into the other one. Yes, I would have been better off emptying into the other one. Never mind. Anyway, they both made it back to their starting positions. So if you're going to run two tractors and trailers and they're going to go to emptying, at the, as we've got them, the canning factory, then you're much better off having them either end of the field on the same side, and then that way, as long as they're off the road, they shouldn't, in theory, collide. In theory. It's not always the case, I did say in theory they shouldn't collide. But yes, anyway, the rain has stopped, thank goodness. So as soon as we'll get this field done, and then, as I say, that'll be the end of this episode, and then the next episode we'll try and get everything else done. But I'll go back to a little bit of time-lapse and music now, but I just thought I'd jump in because that was funny. Well, it was funny to me anyway. And I'm back, and this time no crashing, no crashing, and no disaster. That was what I was trying to get out, darlings. I turned into Craig Revel Horwood halfway through there. Anyway, strictly not allowed, I think you'll find. Ooh, that's a bad joke, isn't it? But yeah, so we've got the carrots done, we've got the parsnips done. And as I say, next episode we'll crack back on with the combining again, because I've only got this month to I think I've only got this month to harvest sorghum, and then obviously it'll have withered, withering heights. I'm sure Kate Bush is delighted that I've just changed a hit song for her. Anyway, yeah, we'll as I say, we'll get these carrots in these trailers and get them sent off to the canning factory, and then we will. I'm going to call this harvester the runaway harvester because it's incredibly difficult to stop. It just wants to run. Right. Let's get this back to the farm. We'll park it on the lawn because we're going to need it again. So we've got a field to the left. So to the left now, and then we've got a field down there that was harvested. I think, if I remember correctly, that was red beans that I put in there. Listen to the sound of my red beans. Red beans in there. We'll get that done, but as I say, we must in the next episode get the sorghum finished. Only got 2 fields, again, field down to my left next to the red beets, and a field, let me think, I need the class please. I wish there was a mod where I could just select which tractor I wanted. Anyway. So if I now press that, and then that, and then that, it should go. Yes, there we go. Yeah, so same as the field down yonder as well. That's what we need to do. But that will be the sorghum done. That's obviously chicken feed, was usually chicken feed, and then. What killed it was not realising I left it uneasy, and I left it uneasy for quite a number of episodes, and I just couldn't figure out what was making so much money, because I kind of pre-done the rock throughs on sort of like privately to make sure everything worked, to make sure that everything was going to be and once I had established that it was, and that we wasn't going to make that much money very quickly, I thought, yeah, we'll do this save, it'll be good, it will sort of, replicate real life. And don't get me wrong, you get far too much money even on hard for the greenhouse stuff, but you've got to progress. It is a computer game at the end of the day, and you have to take that into account. And so I thought, yeah, it'd be great, like it would be absolutely fine. Oh, they've hit some pallets, have they? Okie doke. Yes, well, you'll have to. Oh dear, he's dragged quite a few pallets. Right, let's move them over there. Let's see if we can grab hold of this pallet before he decides to. Nope. So let's do that. And then bring him back. Will he tip? Did I empty him? Yeah, he's empty. That's good. I bet the other one. Oh, There's 2 pallets there. Why cut the corner? Hang on, I can't get it out of the way quick enough. Why cut that corner so much? Why cut that corner so bleeding much? Dear, where? Crikey. Oh, there it is. Ah, kimchi. See, it's doing impressions of accents like that get me in trouble with my ladies. But yeah, so yeah, as I said to you earlier, I did a couple of impressions in the last video and in last Monday's video, and that was what got me in trouble with my ladies, who said, "Oh, it's very funny, you know, that there is no doubt. There we go. It's very funny. I'm just not sure you get away with it, but I don't know. You know, I don't know. I suppose if I was Ricky Gervais, I'd get away with it, but you know, being little old me, that doesn't have a huge team of lawyers behind me, probably wouldn't. So probably best that I don't. But as I say, it's things like that that could get me in trouble. Ah, kimchi. Oh dear, I don't know. Right, as I say, we're going to leave this episode here. So we've got pretty much nearly everything done in this episode that I was hoping to get done, but I wasn't counting on rain, and there's rain forecast again in a little while. So yeah, again, like I say, we'll probably just be getting on with our veggies in the next episode. Then we'll skip to the next month, and then because I'm sure that we'll be able to harvest, sorghum in September, so we should be okay. And yeah, as I say, we'll carry on. We will carry on. It was mentioned by someone that I've sort of kind of consulted with on this series, and it was mentioned that they kind of thought that maybe I should carry on and, you know, sort of grow this into big farm, big equipment and stuff like that. I don't know. It's tempting, but like I say, I don't know whether we would be better off going on another map and starting sort of big from there, because we've got quite a bit of money, so we could transfer the money over to a new map. We could sell all of this off and say, oh well, we're moving because we've earned our money and we're going to move to a different part of maybe America, maybe the world, maybe Europe, wherever. We can move wherever, and with the money that we get from selling this place off, with the money that we've already got, and selling all the greenhouses and everything like that, and all the equipment and everything, and starting afresh in a new place, I would imagine we would have nearly £4-5 million if we did all that. So we could do that. I don't know. Let me know. Let me know what you think, and we'll go from there. But as it stands at the moment, unless enough people sort of convince me otherwise, I will probably be concentrating on Sunnyside Up Farms, just because I've got a lot of plans and a lot of things that need to do there, and I think one episode a week doesn't really do that justice. So I'm going to, maybe switch over to that. I don't know. The other thing as well is, the other reason that might keep it going is if the viewing figures on this series keep going the way they are, because I'm getting about sort of anywhere from sort of 30 to 40 views on this, which compared to Walter and Sunnyside Up Farms is quite a bit. But so I don't know. I'm a bit undecided. I'm a bit up in the air, and I'm like this. But eventually, I do come to a decision. But I've sort of all I've done today is I've kind of verbalized what's going on in my head, what I'm thinking, what maybe could happen, should happen, or whatever. But I really appreciate the input from you guys, and it does help me. It helps me to make decisions. But anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. Really appreciate the time you spend watching my videos, because as I said before, you don't have to take time out of your day to listen to me going on and being or trying to be comical. So I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done already, please don't forget to subscribe. It really does help the channel. Like I said before Christmas, I had set a goal of 1,000 subscribers by April 16th. When I set that goal in sort of mid-November, that seemed very achievable. It's looking a lot less likely now, I have to be honest. But yeah, if you haven't done already and you do enjoy my videos, you do enjoy listening to a ginger go on and on and on about stuff, then why not subscribe? The vast majority of my views that I get aren't subscribers, which is always amazing to me. But yeah, so as I say, if you are watching and you haven't subscribed, please do. And I'll see you next week in the next episode. Or if you're here tomorrow, you'll see me in 1950s Farm. So I'll see you then. Bye for now.